And now, if you would, let me introduce you to my world record lake trout. Hey folks, do me a favor, practice CPR, catch, photo, and release. The future of fishing is truly in your hands. There, on your left, you can almost see it. One of the most magnificent sights on the planet, Lake Athabasca, nestled just below the 60th parallel. Lake Athabasca hasn't changed in nearly 1,000 years with its pristine shorelines, pure crystal clear water you can actually drink, and countless fish. Boy, has she got fish, that is for everyone willing to travel to Otherside River Lodge. From the magnificent world-class northern pike that prowl these waters to the oldest and biggest lakers on the globe, Athabasca has it all. Otherside River Lodge caters to the true sportsman seeking an all-American plan guided package with 3 incredible meals a day and memories you won't find anywhere else. Records have been broken by guests at Otherside River Lodge in the past. You could be next. Book your dream trip of a lifetime to Otherside River Lodge, where fishing dreams do come true. Call Cliff or Stella toll-free at 1-877-922-0957. And after this show, you may just want to call Cliff and Stella. Hey, I got to tell you something, folks. To be perfectly candid with you, we want to do something going forward that's a little bit different. So what I'm going to do now tonight is I'm going to put the call out for anglers who have knowledge, skill sets, abilities, and want to be seen, recognized, heard, and helped teach. That's right. We're going to be creating a brand new show after the first of the year. We've been working on the fundamentals. We've got some new technology in-house, and with that being said, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be, well, it's a rendezvous. Let's just put it that way. It's Fish and Sticks Rendezvous, and if you want to be part of it, it's real simple to do it. Just get a hold of me, Bob.m at FishnStixTV.com, and I will forward you the necessary information to get you on board. That said, hey, everybody likes to pull on something, right? Isn't that a fact? You like to get out there and pull on something really big, really hard? Well, we're going to do just that tonight. We're going to be talking and we're going to be showing you exactly how to do it. Hey, let me see a show of hands out there. How many people have caught a world record fish? Okay, you can chime in on Facebook. I'm watching you guys on Facebook. Chime in if you've caught a world record fish. All right, so those numbers are going to be pretty small, correct? Sure they are, no doubt about it. Hey, that said, I would also like to ask people out there tonight that are watching the show to chime in and let us know where you're watching. Last week we did this. We had a lot of fun. We had people in Ohio. We had people in Wisconsin. We had people in Alaska. We had people in Ontario. We had people in England. Really cool to see just how far the reach is of the show. That's a lot of fun. So if you would please chime in on the lines. I'm watching them right now. I'll be watching the comments come in. Let us know where you're watching from. It's critical and it's fun, and we would like to know. That being said, folks, join us on the conversation on Facebook tonight. Go ahead, get a hold of us, Fish and Sticks TV on Facebook. It's a live show. It's live now. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to bring them on. You can do it in the comment line on there. You can private message me. Private message me really is a nice way to do it. It comes in, it pops up nicely. I can see it. We can deal with it, and that's kind of fun too. I'm also going to step way out on a limb tonight, way out there. Those of you who have seen the introduction of the show over the last, well, 20 shows, the last 20 shows, 22 shows. The last 22 shows have seen our phone number come up on the beginning. So go back and reference one of the previous shows here on Facebook. The phone number's on there. I'm going to risk it. Phone lines are open. If you guys want to call in, you want to talk to us about the subject matter that we have going tonight, I would love to talk to you live on the air tonight. And furthermore, with that being said, if you've got suggestions on subject matter or people, industry people, whether they're guides or they're lure manufacturers, whatever the case may be, if you've got any kind of suggestion, feel free to chime in on that as well, and we'll get that done. Next week's show is going to be awesome. Just point blank, it's going to be awesome. We had planned to do it tonight. I had called this particular individual to get him on the show, and because of his work commitments, he had to ask me to postpone what we wanted to do, so we've done that. We postponed it. We're going to do that next Wednesday night. You don't want to miss next Wednesday night show. It's going to be the kind of thing that all that information is going to go right into the sponge. You're going to be able to take it right to the water, and you're going to be able to have fun with it. Tonight's show, we're going to take you way up north, way up north. And with that being said, some of the material you're seeing tonight was shot long before we had relationships with some of the sponsors we have. So we're going to leave that stuff intact in it tonight. So the value is still there for you. We're going to talk a little bit about equipment tonight. When we get to that portion, I want to make sure you guys understand Jim Grant rods and what they can do for you in this environment. When I talk about really going to a fishery that the fish will fight, the fish will pull, this is it. This is it. I had opportunities to fish up there with Frank Schneider, who was a dear friend of mine. Frank has passed away now. Just prior to that, I had the opportunity to invite Frank on this particular shoot. You're going to see him. You're going to see him challenge some fish, and you're going to see just how hard these monster fish will. Say, when was the last time you went Laker fishing, and in a couple of days, 3 days, about 6 hours fishing each day, you boated 30 to 40 fish over 30 pounds, and many of them over 40. When was the last time you did that? How would you like to do that? Well, we're going to introduce you to a place tonight that can do that. With that being said, there's a piece of material that I want to share with you. Now, you don't want to go anywhere before the end of the show. We watch the analytics on the show. We know how many people are watching. We know what they're doing, how long they're watching, if they come back and watch again. And there seems to be a threshold. People will bear with us for a little while, 15, 18, 20 minutes, and then they seem to leave. And some of them do come back. We can track that. But you don't want to leave tonight's show before it's over. You don't want to do it. And you don't want to cut out this part, because this is the meat. This is what you need to know. And you can take the information we're going to disseminate tonight on tonight's Fish and Stick show and apply it to any place you fish big lake trout. So with that being said, folks, let's get her rolling.
It's a fact, however, not very well known. The fish we refer to as a lake trout isn't even a member of the trout family. Instead, it's a member of the char family. The laker, as we know it, is referred to as the mackinaw, a togue, and in some cases the gray trout. Many names have been dedicated to the trout in various native tongues. In researching the lakers, it becomes obvious there are many geographical races of lake trout. However, the most common are the lean trout and the fat trout, basically identified by the characteristic body shape. Trust me, we'll be dealing with the latter of the two, the fat trout. In the spring and fall, lakers make a precise and predictable movement into and out of the shallows. This is due in part to the call of nature to fulfill their spawning urges, and the fact that their main forage will also take to the shallows. The laker is indeed a cold water fish, and in most cases will be forced to inhabit the deeper, colder waters of most smaller systems during the midsummer. And that alone will reduce your window of opportunity to fish them safe in the shallow water environments. However, that is not the case with Athabasca. This huge body of water offers a wide window for you to safely catch and release her super secret, the giant lakers. Every fish you will see in this presentation was caught and released during a single 3-day period in mid-July, and we never fished deeper than 25 feet, nor did we use any live or cut bait. Like I said, I researched long and hard to come up with the practical understanding I have of the laker, and one of the lessons I learned along the way was to find a very large body of water with great depth and the ability to hold cold water temperatures through the entire season. Combine that with distant offshore structures that near the surface, a quality forage basin, and voila, you have potential laker gold mine, and that's what we found at Athabasca. In most cases, you will find the best areas to be very remote and may take a little extra effort to achieve, but what the heck, that's part of the experience anyway. If you examine the habitat of trophy Lakers, you'll find the requirements very rigid. They require cold, oxygenated water. As far as a lake classification, they're almost exclusive to oligotrophic systems. In the summer, to find them at depths at 50 feet or more is not uncommon, even in bigger lakes. However, it is best to refrain from fishing them when they are below 40 feet. You are likely to kill or severely injure Lakers that are caught in these depths of more than 40 feet, even if you release the fish quickly. Remember, some of these fish can be in excess of 80 years old, and trust me, they will be very fragile. As far as their feeding habits go, they are actually bottom feeders and often scour the bottom for an easy meal. However, big Lakers are piscivores and depend on a viable live baitfish population. In most waters, Lakers will rely upon cisco, whitefish, tullaby, and in the case of Athabasca, grayling for their subsistence. As far as spawning goes, as I said earlier, Lakers spawn in the fall, when the water temperatures are between 47 and 54 degrees, and will select large reefy areas or large point areas that rise from depths as deep as 35 or 40 feet to within inches of the surface. In some systems, you'll find Lakers using rivers to assist in their spawning, and this can happen a bit earlier in the season if the weather conditions are right, meaning a severe cold front condition dispensing colder water into the main lake. Lakers do not spawn in what is referred to as beds. They are random spawners, simply dropping their eggs into crevices formed by the boulders where they are usually fertilized and incubate over the winter. Lakers are among the true giants of the freshwater kingdom, and there are many methods to catch them. One of the more common, without question, would be trolling. Trolling accounts for more than 75% of the Laker catches around the world. It's very popular because of a few basic reasons. One being the ability to cover large areas of structure and maintain good lure speed and depth control. Another factor is Lakers are notorious followers and have been known to follow lure presentations for great distances, tapping and nudging your offering many times before committing, even if committing at all. Boat control is also achieved with very little effort in almost all conditions, and in areas where you're forced to fly in, you'll be limited to the amount of equipment you can take in, i.e. trolling motors and deep cycle batteries. We did considerable trolling while at Athabasca for all of the aforementioned reasons. Our lure choices were wide and varied. We started pulling Stanley spoons and Yakima T60 flatfishes with Berkeley power bait trailers. Remember, I said Lakers are notorious bottom feeders and are great followers. This should explain why we added the Berkeley power grubs for trailers. Anything beyond the lure's natural action and color reflection we could add seemed to help. And as the day part progressed, we found we needed to change both lure color and trailer color to stay on the bite. This is very common with Lakers because they have such incredible eyesight and are not afraid to use it. There was never a need for planer boards as one might expect. However, if you challenge the Lakers at Athabasca, it might be. We were basically alone on our structure, and being cautious with our boat control, we didn't seem to spook these shallow Lakers. The depths we were pulling lures at ranged from about 10 to 20 feet as the day progressed. The entire reason for fishing this area was due to an experience I had on a past trip. I was bringing up a Laker of about 30 pounds, and as the fish was ascending, she regurgitated a whitefish that appeared to be about 4 pounds. No sooner had this happened, and out of nowhere came a Laker large enough to eat the one I had on the line and committed itself to the offering that was regurgitated by the hooked Laker. This caused me to stop in my tracks and ended up losing the big one again. Rest assured, I was destined to return. Spoons are a great choice for shallow Lakers. You can dress them up or down depending on the feeding habits of the Laker. Our spoon choices included the Stanley Pike and Muskie Boss version and the Lynn Thompson 5 of Diamonds in a size 4. In almost every case, we added the life and scent found in the Berkeley Power Bait trailer. We found the spoons to work well as a very shallow offering, as well as over deeper water to attract some of the fish that were being missed by the T60 offering, which was working much deeper. On a slow troll and a short line, one can expect the T60 to run about 14 to 16 feet. With a spoon running about 10 to 12 feet, you accomplished great column coverage. Another lure group we had great success with was the spinnerbait. In particular, the Stanley Pike and Muskie Boss spinnerbait, in both 1.5 and 2.5 ounce offerings, both trolled and cast. For now, let's concentrate on the trolled version. We found when we pulled the Cisco pattern and made large S turns, thus constantly changing the speed and direction, we caught very large Lakers. In this case, we were both running the same weight lure depending on the depth we wanted to achieve. At other times, we would run in a straighter line and simply pump our presentations to activate a strike. During this presentation, we would run 2 different weight lures and again claim more of the water column. Either way, Stanley Pike and Muskie Boss spinnerbaits in the Cisco pattern were at times as good as it gets. A big part of the problem with Lakers is they will often identify with a normal home range that could exceed 100 miles. What that means is once you have located a holding area or feeding area, you can't expect the Lakers to stay there for any great length of time. The truth is their forage is constantly on the move, and that will force the Lakers to move as well, especially the true giants. Their summer movements will often be dramatic and often hard to follow. With systems as big as Athabasca, there is always something in nature going on that will bring the big boys, or gals should I say, to the upper 20 or 30 foot of the water column, or shallower. The phenomenon we were dealing with had many variables. First of all, it was mid-July. Our surface temp was still below 50 degrees, and that meant the water beneath the surface was even cooler. We had a bug or gnat hatch that was taking place from the height of the afternoon right through dusk. The midday was the peak of the hatch, however, the fishing seemed to improve as the day lingered on. The surface of the lake was calm for the most part, which meant we could readily detect surface activity caused by whitefish taking advantage of the hatch. You could also detect this by the activity of the birds as well. However, they seemed to spook the larger trout. Every now and then you could actually witness grayling or whitefish actually break the surface. That meant it was time to do a bit of casting, if you were close enough. And when you hooked up, it was like hooking the south end of a semi headed north. You better have had good equipment, because there was no room for mistakes with 40-pound plus of angry Laker on the other end of your short string, if you get my drift. This is no place for substandard equipment. After all, you spend a great deal of time, money, and effort to take a Laker trip of a lifetime. Why destroy the trip with inadequate or substandard equipment? Sure, you're going to let them go anyway. We all know that. But at least you want to get one picture for your wall of fame. And now get prepared to take a very close and personal look at the Lakers of Athabasca.
Yeah, definitely high 20s.
Nice looking fish.
No question of that. Aren't they just gorgeous, the colors?
Beautiful.
Shame.
Put her back in and let her swim away.
You bit that muskie boss, didn't you? Here she goes.
Hi everyone, Bob Mehsikomer here for Grant Rods. You know, muskie fishing's a tough deal, and the job's not done till she's in the bag. Well, how do you do that? It's pretty simple. You need big dog rods from Grant Rods. For your next rod, call them at 847-577-0848. Building custom rods since 1983.
Hey, it's no accident I showed you that commercial right there. I had Vinny Segafredo with me doing some lake trout here at Athabasca a few years back, and Vinny's one of these really big guys, 6'6"-ish, I don't know, he's a big guy. And Vinny hooked up on a lake trout with a graphite rod in his hand, and a big lake trout, and this thing is pulling, and Vinny decides he's going to pull back, and it pulls harder, and Vinny pulls back harder. And I was warning him. I said, Vinny, don't be doing that. That fish is going to break the rod, and it's going to be your fault. Just fight the fish, play the fish. And Vinny gets down on it, and he's pulling. It took him to his knees, and when the fish took him to his knees, that rod hit the edge of the boat, or the curved edge of the boat, and it just sat there and kept bending and bending and bending, and that graphite rod went pow! It just blew right up. It shattered everything. The line was severed, and Vinny looked at me. He looked at me and he kind of smiled, and I went, hey, Vinny, I tell you, that was an awfully big fish. So, that being said, make sure you choose the right rods. Now, that thing being said, we found the best action for pulling the T60s was in a 6-foot extra heavy rod. We found that the hookup was better and you actually had better control of the fish. When we went out to 6, 6, 7 foots and 7.5 foots, we found that we missed more fish. And there's something these fish do when you're fighting them, when you're playing them. I mean, these fish will come in and they'll swing on you, and they'll get their fins, their pec fins, and they'll just turn. And when they turn, they're like turning an elevator going down. And if you've got a poorly hooked fish, the whole time their mouth is open, they're shaking their head, and you watch them. I mean, you watch fish 10, 15 feet deep, and you watch this happening, and that mouth will come open, and it'll expand, and next thing you know, boom, the lure's gone. We lost far, far less fish with the 6-foot heavy action. Now, I've had people ask in the past on previous shows, when you fly in, what are the rod lengths that I can carry? Well, if you're going lake trout fishing, carry the 6-foot. Maybe a 6.6 extra heavy. Jim Grant can build you a custom one up, or a big dog rod will do the job too. If you're not quite as strong as people need to be, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about as we get into these fish here, because they pull. And if you're not quite as strong, you might want to look at a composite rod, a glass rod. Again, Jim Grant can tell you what he has in his model lines. Folks, these fish are unbelievable. Now, we're going to talk about it a little bit when we go forward in these various pieces I put together for you tonight. One of the things that lake trout do, they're slashers. And they're schoolers, okay? These are a couple of things you want to pay real close attention to. And remember, you can take this information to any lake trout fishery you're fishing on. It doesn't have to be Athabasca. I'm showing you the best lake trout fishery in the planet, period, bar none, the best. Now, I understand not everybody can go to Athabasca, but if you do get a chance to go lake trout fishing, remember what I'm telling you. These fish are slashers. They come up, they'll hit a bait, they'll bump it, they'll bump it, they'll bump it, and there will be sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 fish that'll come out of a pod, out of a school, and they will all be there. So what we were doing is we were bumping the fish and dropping our rods back. As soon as that fish hit, we would drop our rod back, send it right back to the fish. So the bump, 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 you pull it forward, drop it back. Bump, 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 pull it forward, drop it back. And that's how we were triggering a huge amount of these big fish. So we're not going to show you all the boring trolling, but we are going to show you some very interesting fish catching. And like I said, one of the gentlemen that was with me on this, I had the opportunity to take Frank Schneider. Frank and I go back all the way to 1976 maybe? 76, 77. He talked me into joining Muskies Incorporated. I think it was 1977. So Frank and I hit it off real good with the muskie stuff, became very good friends. And I called his son one day and I says, do you think Frank would like to go with me to Athabasca? And his words were, absolutely.
I feel like I'm getting hoggish, Bob.
Ah!
I'm getting all the action.
Don't even worry about it.
This is bigger than the last one. There, I got him on the other side. That's better.
What are you into there?
I haven't seen it yet. I
Nice
saw a
fish.
flash. Now I see it.
It's a big fish.
Yeah, it is a pretty nice fish.
Be nice fish. She starts to give you an inch. You start putting it on her, Frank.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Look at the size of these horses out here. Plain incredible.
Now I want you to listen to Frank's drag, okay? Frank's trying to free spool this fish. He's a musky fisherman. He understands
This is
the,
a big fish,
the
Frank,
free
but I don't think
spooling.
you've seen the biggest yet.
But these fish
The
are
way you're hooking fish today?
far more powerful than you can imagine.
Yeah, the luck has been really for me, hasn't it?
Yes, you've been in good shape. Yeah, we just went over some fish.
And that's a 6 foot extra heavy he's got in his hand, folks. This is not a crappie rod.
Got you down there or what? I never have seen him quite this speechless, folks.
Yeah, it is a big fish.
Oh yeah, it's a real big fish.
Let me switch around here a little bit.
Be careful. Be careful.
Oh, be careful. I'm trying to be at least.
Struggling there a bit, Frank. It's gonna pull you out of the boat. When she's ready to come up, we'll know.
You almost need a
This one's
stand-up
over 30.
fighting belt for these things.
Yeah, I think you're right, Bob. I'm sure you're right.
Rory said he's never been there, but he'd like to. Rory, you need to put it on your bucket list. Truthfully, you need to put it on your bucket list.
No way, Jose, she says.
Jim Grant's with us tonight. He did make a comment about the ownership of Blackmur's fishing,
Boy, that
hunting,
rain
fishing
just wants to
lodges.
keep coming
Awesome
and coming,
people.
doesn't it?
Cliff and Stella both.
I think this is where we play Beethoven's Fifth or something like that, Frank.
Yeah.
I can see her down there.
Going the wrong way, Mr. Fish.
She'll come this way. You get her head coming this way, she'll come. You got good control of her. Boys, that's a big fish. It's too bad you're not having any fun, Frank.
Yeah, it's too bad. Let me get him over to you a little bit.
If the head comes this way, I'll be all right.
Yeah, if I can just get it over there. Turn the rod around a little bit here.
Whew. That was kind of a job to get that one in there.
Yeah, that was a long one.
Oh lordy. How many of these things you want to catch?
I don't know. We can go home right now. Look at the size
That's
of that.
enough. That's a big fish. That's a giant, giant fish.
Yeah.
Let's get her back.
Bobby, I'm surprised you can hold that damn thing like that.
Folks, there's probably not a fish in fresh water that will break your hand, break your wrist faster than one of these big lake trout. When I said we took 40 fish over 30 pounds, I'm not exaggerating. I'm talking about more big fish you can ever shake a stick at, folks. It's amazing fishery. We'll be right back because there's a lot more to show you from where we're fishing. Bring her back. Oh, just a minute. Hold tight. Hold tight. Hi, everyone. Bob Mehsikomer here. You know, I've got a place, a very, very special place in my heart. It's Osborne Bay.
It's been excellent. Randy did a great job guiding service.
Randy started taking us out when I was 10, and we've been catching big muskies ever
The
since.
accommodations here are fantastic.
Check out Century Lodge on Osborne Bay. Come on, bring her back. That being said, folks, join us in the conversation here tonight. Patch in, get on board, talk to us, show us where you're at. Let us know where you're viewing or listening from, and be part of the conversation. That's what this thing is all about tonight. I'm not going to mess around. We're going to get right to it. We're going to get all the big fish we can get in tonight, and just another one right here with Stan Stanek.
Hello.
17 feet deep, big fish.
Oh, yeah.
That was boiling out there, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That you might have a good fish.
No such thing as a bad fish.
We have we have not seen a small fish today.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Big
yeah.
girl?
It's a big fish. It's a big fish.
You into a horse?
It's pretty damn good.
Oh, yes.
Look at how long that one is. Holy mackerel.
Stan's not having no fun, folks.
Look at the tail on that thing.
Woo. You're into a big fish.
He's into me. Yeah. That is a big fish.
I think we need the net.
Straight up there. That's it. So we can get him up now.
Oh, this is a horse. This is a good one. If I see the head coming, I was going to say, if I see the head coming my way, we'll get her.
Turn her around. Come
How
on.
come you're so quiet, Stan?
This is a big one.
Okay, you got her head high. Bring it this way. Keep her head high. Keep her head high. Keep it coming this way. She's going to turn around on you here in just a second. And if she does, I want to have this net here. Okay, bring her up. Bring her up. Bring her toward me.
Oh!
That is a brute!
Man! Big fish.
Okay, just let her hang. Let her hang. And you have got a hog. Okay, take your hand around the backside of the fish and support it. Bring your hand around the backside of the tail. Around the backside of the tail. You'll get her.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Pretty fish.
Boy, that's a big fish.
Okay, let's set her back in there, big guy. That is a giant. That is an Athabasca giant right there. Hang on to the tail.
Hey folks, I don't know if Jim's still on with us. I saw him on the message boards a little earlier. If Jim is there, Jim, I invite you. You've got my phone number. Give me a call live on the show tonight. And I don't know if you're there, but if you are, give me a call. I'd like to talk a little bit about the rods that you make that would be applicable to these huge, huge fish. With that being said, folks, we'll be right back after this word from our sponsor. Ooh, look at that. Oh, big fish. Big fish.
This side over here.
That is a 50 fish. Folks, you're seeing it right now. My 100 just came in the net at Witch Bay Camp. Holy smokes, Rocky. She ate that thing.
I want to take just a couple seconds, folks, and ask you to please share what you're watching tonight. You can even do it tonight while we're live. Take it, hit the share button that's right below the program you're watching, and pass it on to your page, folks. This is how we're going to grow. I'm also putting the call out again. Let me know where you guys are watching and listening from tonight. I'd like to know how far we're reaching the show. And next week, I know, you muskie guys out there, I know, you're kind of disappointed. You're disappointed because we're not doing muskies. Well, the bottom line is we can't do muskies every week. This is a great fishery. There are people as passionate about lake trout as the most passionate are about muskie fishing. This is why we're doing multi-species. Multi-species means a bigger audience, a more educated audience, and the more information people can share back and forth, the less there is in terms of detriment for the fishery. So come on, get on board with us. We're going to have just a little bit more fun tonight. Now, there's a piece I want to walk you into right now. I'm going to bring Frank back into the fold, and I want you to listen to the structure that we're fishing, how we're fishing it, what we're doing, because this is, again, part of the information you can take with you to wherever you're fishing. One of the years that I broke the world record on lake trout, at the same time I broke the world, well, within the same summer, not the same time, but in the same summer, there was a fish of massive size, not quite as large as what I caught, but massive size, come right out of Lake Superior. So yes, you can even drive to some of these fish. Now, Athabasca is a huge resource, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a couple of minutes. But Athabasca is over 200 miles long and can span 75 to 100 miles wide. It is a huge body of water, 400 feet deep. So there's a lot there to fish. But this is how Frank, Rich, Stan Stanek, and myself, this is how we fished.
11-foot top out here. $13, $14, $15. Well, folks, I think you'd have to agree. Rich Tuomi, Frank Schneider, and Stan Stanek and I, well, we've shown you some incredible examples of the Lakers of Athabasca. As we said earlier in the beginning of this production, we would devote this tape to not only telling you where to catch these fish or what we caught them on, but would also explain in detail the exact type of structure we were fishing. We mentioned a few facts that I would like to reiterate. Our season was July, and if you venture to Athabasca, you could expect Cliff Blackmur to assist you in choosing the time frame that's best for results. However, as I said earlier, this system offers a huge window of opportunity due to its physical attributes. We were blessed by one of the many bug hatches that take place in the middle of the lake, and this is part responsible for attracting the needed forage, the whitefish and the grayling. We chose an area that had great personality. In that, I mean it was a great reef with an incredible food shelf and very fast verticals. This allowed the trout to make very abrupt and predictable movements from the depths to the feeding areas as the bait fish were taking advantage of the ongoing hatch. Remember, as a laker matures, you can bank on it that he or she will become a piscivore, and therefore will have no real interest in the hatch itself, rather the forage it offers. The reef itself was very large, with the absolute top being about 10 feet deep and the outer rim dropping rapidly to depths nearly 100 feet. However, the action was confined to 30 foot or less for our assault. We found that we had great success if we made large sweeping turns over the outer shelf's edge and back onto the shallower inside turns. Our bigger fish by far were coming as our lures were being pulled up onto the shallower portions of the reef, say into about 12 to 16 feet.
No.
The trolling approach that we used allowed for great coverage as well as consistently changing our lure speed and direction. As the day lingered on, we took to casting spinnerbaits on the spine of the reef and caught an incredible fish. In fact, our cameraman caught and released Lakers of 35 pounds and up. That's right, folks, our cameraman. Before we're done with this video, we're going to show you fish from this reef that quite frankly could eat 5 to 7 pound trout for its dinner.
Boy, that thing really took out some line
Oh,
there.
yes. He's way out there.
You want to know something? I haven't seen it yet.
I just got a good look at it when I went by here. It's a nice fish. This water's like looking into an inkwell with this overcast. She's down there probably around, I'd say 8 to 10 feet. Pretty deep.
Well, you want to go around the boat? Real good. We'll let you go around the boat. We're not fussy.
Which way around the boat? Well, folks, if you know Frank Schneider like I know Frank Schneider, he's never speechless. Big fish.
This is a big fish, Bob.
I see that.
This is a very nice big fish. Come on this way.
She's sounding on you, huh? If you want me to, I can swing the boat.
Look at it. It's still green.
Oh, yes. Lakers don't come to the boat in 2 seconds, especially when they're 30 pounds.
Yeah, this is up in that class.
Yeah, it is. I still can't believe we're out here with a net this small.
With a walleye net. Yeah. To take 30-pound class fish. Whoa, look at
Is
that
a
thing down there.
horse? Look at her.
That is a hog. 30 pounds. This is way over 30.
Yeah, it's a good fish. Look at that down there. Is that
You know, I've
beautiful?
put 30-pound muskies back. This is bigger than they were.
You let me know what you want me to do here.
I got to get her a little bit more tired, Bob.
Okay,
I'm afraid if I try to horse her in, we
That's
may
okay.
just lose her.
that's not a problem. I haven't seen yet how well she's hooked, so keep her tight. You probably got her beat. Bringing her downwind.
Coming around the other way.
Don't let her get underneath the boat on you.
Attaboy, Bob. Nice big fat pig. We did it.
You did a good job there.
When I fish with my friend Bob Mehsikomer, I get lucky.
You did a good job. Okay, let me see if I can.
That's my biggest ever lake trout.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, let's slide her back. I'll get the net out of the way.
I don't remember exactly how old Frank was when he fished with me. Frank and I fished together for so many years. An awesome guy. Hey, folks, we got a special guest. Jim Grant's on the phone with us. Jimmy, you there?
I'm here.
Hey, how you like that? I wanted to bring Jim on tonight. Folks, he had no idea I was going to invite him onto the show, but he makes so many different rods, so many different models, so many different kinds, so many different components. I'm just going to turn it over to Jim for a second and let Jim tell us what we need to know about what rods he can build for this fishery. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Bob. Man, I'll tell you, Cliff's got such a great place up there. You know, the lifting power you need on these fish are pretty remarkable. So what we do with a lot of the fish a lot of the rods there, We have a Payara series and a Cuda series, and we have 2 rods that just key into those to the lake trout fishery, and also big pike. It's a 7-foot heavy in the Payara series, and what makes these 2 series really, really special is the increased hoop strength technology, and that's compressing the blank, and then we run a carbon twill on the back third of the rod. So our hook set is awesome, and our lifting power is awesome, and then we run machined stainless guides. So the last thing you want to have is ring failure out there. So the Cuda series is a 7-foot 6 heavy, 15 to 25, and Payara series is the 7-foot heavy. We make them in spinning and bait casting.
So would you recommend, how about the actual composite materials or the materials you're using in the rods themselves, Jim? Fiberglass, graphites, what's going on there?
All carbon fiber. We use XLH70, and then we run KV, which is a Kevlar material as a scrim cloth, and then the carbon fiber rod blank material, and then on top of that, we call it a 3-step process with our Big Dog series, our Big Dog layout, and that's where we add the carbon twill, and that really compresses the blank, and when the blank rod blank is under load, it really, really gives it more power, and the rods are really, really lightweight as well.
Well, I'll tell you this, I know my big dog rods that I musky fish with are exactly that. I even pick up an 8-footer, and an 8-footer of your line is about the same weight as, I don't know, a 6.5, not quite a 7-foot in the old brands we used to fish, so they are much, much lighter. Another thing too, if Vince Segafredo would have been using your rods, he probably would have got that big fish too, eh?
I think so. I have to go with that.
I'm telling you, when somebody stands up and they go shoulder to shoulder with these fish, and it takes the rod right to the edge of the boat, which we've already seen with more than one angler in the boat here tonight, it's pretty amazing how much they can pull. We were talking during the commercial break, you and I were on the phone, and the average fight on these fish is 5 minutes, and musky fishing, the average fight is probably 50 seconds. So it's a different kind of fishery.
It really is. You know, these fish, they just, it's almost like the superior freshwater fish with a little bit of saltwater power left in them, you know?
They've got the endurance, there's no doubt of that. And one of the things that I want to really point out with having Jim on the phone here with us tonight on Fish and Sticks is when he says he's building an extra heavy rod for this fishery, it's because you want to reduce the amount of stress on the fish during the encounter itself. I've had people over the years say, well, I'd just soon fish them on lighter tackle, and so be it. Some fish you can do that. If you want to go out and fish juvenile fish, that's fine. But when you're sitting on top of world record class fish or super trophy fish, you want to really gear up the right way for those fish, because there is a certain amount of mortality that's caused from our presence, and we don't want to increase that in any way, form, or fashion.
I agree 100% with that. You know, if you want to catch the smaller fish, go on out there with a 10 or 12 weight fly rod and run some you know, streamers off the top in the spring and in the fall. You can have all the fun you want with that. But these big ones, you really gotta really appreciate the fishery. And Cliff does a great job up there.
Oh, absolutely. I've been fishing Athabasca for 25 plus years. Say, folks, we got listeners and viewers on from North Carolina, from Virginia, from Ottawa, from Chicago, from, again, Cleveland and Cincinnati. We've got fishermen chiming in from Kentucky. We had an angler ask about the spawning. We mentioned the spawning on that last segment. Here's the deal with lake trout, folks. They don't bed, and they lay their eggs in the fall, and these eggs don't They don't mature until the spring. In other words, the hatch doesn't take place until months after they've dropped their eggs. So that's one of the reasons you have to have an oligotrophic system. You can't have any burdensome slime and or sediment land on those eggs, and they will generally pick areas that have some sort of a current that's associated with it to help keep those eggs alive during their maturation season. But these fish do not bed. They drop their eggs. They vacate. They're gone. I don't know much about fishing the trout in the spawning season. I've never done it. Athabasca is a system that's so large, your water temps in the summertime, the surface temps in the summertime seldom get above 52 degrees. Now, to put that in perspective for you, that's about the same as Lake Superior. So, again, very cold waters. Again, we're targeting fish that are above 27 feet deep. We're not targeting fish deeper than that, which brings up something else that's kind of interesting. If you were pulling a bait, whatever choice bait you're pulling, and it was down at 25 feet, if the fish comes up from 35 or 40 feet to take your presentation, it doesn't have the same effect of your lure that your lure would have being down 40 feet and engage the fish. So you want to keep those lures up high. Let me take just a couple of seconds. Jim, I'm going to have you hang on if you want to. Do you want to hang on?
Sure, I can hang for a little bit.
All right, then what we're going to do then is we're going to jump over to I kind of lost track of where I was. Well, let's start here. Let's go back and catch up on where we were. I'll get back into our programming mode. We'll be right back after this break.
At gmail.com. The summer sun never sets upon the Alaskan pike of the Unoko, in the heart of breathtaking Alaska. Evenings will be shared reliving the battles of monster pike. The Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Hunt is on, aboard the 67-foot luxury houseboat, and you're in command. If you're not, you should be. Contact the Midnight Sun Trophy Pike Adventures by calling 800-440-7453 or email them at mstpa50@gmail.com.
It is really easy to get lost in the mix here, folks. This thing is, it's got graphics all over the place. It's got everything going for it. Hey, I told you you're going to see big. I promised you you're going to see big. I'm going to show you big. Now, again, take this for what it's worth. Athabasca, huge lake. Athabasca, huge fish. Your desire for huge lakers? There's one focus, folks, and I'm showing it to you.
The right equipment is without question as important as releasing itself. If we were using the wrong equipment, meaning too light, and damaging the fishery, why even fool ourselves into believing we're practicing catch and release? Hey folks, come on up there, catch the big fish on the right equipment and have an incredible trip of a lifetime. There we go.
Is it a good fish?
Oh, I think so. I can see that's got to be moved.
What do you think, Jim? Think it's a big one?
Hi, folks. Welcome to today's show. I'm into a very big fish right here. We are at Athabasca, at Athabasca River Lodge. We're here for one reason and one reason only today. We're going to try to break the Saskatchewan all-time release record for lake trout. That's our game plan. I don't know if we can do it, but we're going to try it.
And we've caught these big lakers up there in calm water and rough water.
What do you got there, Don?
We've caught them in sunny days. We've caught them in cloudy days. We've caught them in just about every kind of condition you can imagine. Folks, you're going to notice I'm going to free spool this fish big time. I'm not going on the drag with this fish virtually at all. I did get a look at it when it come past the boat, and literally I was floored when I saw this thing come through. Take your hands, folks, just take your hands and spread your hands out and look how big the pattern is on your hands. That's how big the pectoral fins are on this fish. This thing is so big, it's amazing. When Al Linder saw this fish, he saw pictures of it. The very first thing he said to me is, Bob, you caught
This lake's gonna lay
orca.
down for us, I
This thing
think.
is huge, huge, huge. But again, even with the best line, we're throwing 40-pound super braid right now. Again, I'm on a 6-foot
Yeah,
rod, and in these days, we
Shows
didn't
up
have
good
the
in this
greatest
clear
drag
water.
systems in the BM50s, so consequently, I
It's by the
did
surface like that, there's
did
no
depend
doubt.
on my thumbing capabilities.
You let me know when you want to take it.
You know, she's got other plans.
I don't think she's ready yet.
Holy moly, Rocky.
You talk about burning a thumb, this will burn
This
a
is
thumb.
a musky rod.
Jim, we got guys private messaging, and they love your rods, point blank.
You guys
They love your rods.
sore shoulders doing
Awesome.
this.
Yep, it is.
Okay,
They
I'm gonna
love
see
your
if I can
rods.
bring her up.
Uh-huh.
She ain't
That
liking
Pyrus
this, I'll tell you
series
that.
is very popular.
Okay, she's gonna come. Just get the net in the water. I'm gonna bring her head around, okay?
Okay.
I'm on the free pool with her. Oh, here we go again.
Earlier on in the show, we were talking
Go down
about
for
what we
another
were
run
doing
now.
in terms of trailers on our baits, folks. It has to do with the slashing habit of the fish. When these big fish come in and they slash at a bait, you'll feel them bump it, bump it, bump it, bump it. And I mean, you can
When I
drag this
bring her
thing
around
300 yards, 200
look,
yards,
The head's
and they're
gonna come
bumping
in.
it, bumping it.
Leave
You're
the whole
feeding
net
it
in the
back,
water
you're
and
feeding it
everything, 'cause
back.
She's gonna swim right into the net if I bring her up right.
With that dressing that we put on the hooks,
get her out
my
now.
interpretation of that is more like the innards of the fish literally
that's a
starting
big
to
fish.
come out of the fish from being
Oh,
wounded
that's a
or
big
injured.
fish.
And read upon it what you wish, it gave me the confidence to do it.
We're going around in
kind of a-
circles.
There's kind of an interesting story that kind of
When you're ready, I'll
evolved
just
out
have the
of
net
this
in the water.
whole
I'll just
thing.
lead her right in.
It
Okay,
took
bring
me
her back
4
around.
years from the time I first found this place until I could actually fish it. The very first time I got out there, we fished about 45 minutes. I caught 130-pound fish, and the guide that was with us, Joe Martin, come up and he said, "Bob, we got to leave." And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "We got to leave." And I said, "I don't want to leave, Joe." He says,
big
"Your boss.
lake, huh?
I guess we don't leave." About an hour later, we were surfing in 8-foot rollers trying to get off the lake.
Okay, she's
Joe knew this lake was blowing up because the loons disappeared. When the loons disappear, the natives take that at face value, and they don't want to be out there. That said, the next year I was not able to get there. The following year after that, we started to put it together. This is a very big reef. This reef runs miles long. It's not something that'll fit in your yard. This thing is, gosh, it's huge. It's huge, and there's fish all over it at the right time. We're there during the midsummer. The season for lake trout at Athabasca is relatively short. Like
in the
again,
net.
I said, the lake doesn't
Leave her in
get
the water. Leave her in the
warm.
water.
Oh, look at this.
Folks, woo, she threw that hook and look at that.
Oh, that's a monster. That's the biggest lake trout I've ever seen.
Okay, like I said, we're here to break the Saskatchewan record on lake trout today, and I don't know that we can do it, but if we get no better than what we've got right here, we're gonna have a good time. I realize I was a bit bold in saying that we were here to break the Saskatchewan record. However, after witnessing the event I spoke of earlier, I had absolute confidence that this system could produce a record laker. The miracle was the fact that she was on my line. Not only did this fish break all the Saskatchewan release records, it is also recognized by the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame in Hayward, Wisconsin as the new world record release in 40-pound line class. And if not for our friends at Warden Lures Yakima Bait Company, this could not have been done, seeing that this record lake trout was caught on a Warden's T60 flatfish tipped with Berkeley Power Grubs. If you are interested in approximate weight, and most are, there are two known formulas for estimating weight that would put her between 62.74 pounds and 57.4 pounds. Bruce Howard of Saskatchewan Environment and Resource Management Fisheries Branch recognizes the most conservative estimate at 57.415 pounds. The most important fact is she is well and still swimming. And in a minute, you'll hear the only measurements that mean anything, the actual length and girth, the information needed for documentation with the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame. Folks, this is what we're talking about. The toughest fighting, hardest pulling freshwater fish of the true north. Monster lake trout. The next time you hear the word laker, think about the giants of Athabasca. You won't be disappointed. Remember, these fish are no lightweights, nor should your equipment be. If you're going to campaign these fish in the far north, or any place for that matter, practice sound catch and release ethics by using the appropriate equipment, the equipment that's matched for these big fish. And now, if you would, let me introduce you to my world record lake trout. Hey folks, do me a favor, practice CPR, catch, photo, and release. The future of fishing is truly in your hands.
You're short.
51.
A little lower.
51 inches.
50 and a half. Take the half off for the top.
I did.
A little lower on the girth.
31 and a half inch girth.
Okay.
31 and a half inch girth.
Okay. Oh. Is that a monster? Look at the size of this lake trout. 15 and a half inches?
15 and a half inches.
Oh. I want her to
Let
go
our
away.
side roll a little bit this way, Bob, and I'll get it.
Yeah, let me...
Take a look, folks, at this shot that's coming up
size of
where
this
you can
fish.
see the width of this fish. This fish is insane on how big it
Get
is.
some life. There she goes.
You can see the pec fins when it comes around. Again, they are as big as your hand spread out. And when they dive with those fins,
Get another
it's
shot of
straight
that.
to the bottom.
I'll get that from the side.
Yeah, she's starting to revolve.
There you go. That is a gorilla, any place.
Okay, she's wanting to go. There she goes.
There she goes. Woo, look at that. Didn't look that big in the water when I first saw it.
She swam away.
Hey, while I got this opportunity too, I want to be the first, at least on Fish and Sticks, to congratulate Jim Grant, one of the most recent inductees into the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame. You guys can send him your love, put it on this show going across there. Send a bunch of those hearts across that screen and let Jim know that we're all appreciative for the accomplishments he's got and what he's done in the sport of fishing. Folks, if you knew Jim, the conservation efforts that he's got, the manufacturing skills he's got, the marketing skills he's got, this guy is amazing. And it's not just in Wisconsin, it's in a global fashion. I am proud to say that I know Jim Grant and welcome him with open arms to the fraternity of Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame members. Jim, you're welcome.
Oh man, thank you very much, Bob. I'm in awesome company. I can tell you that. I'm really humbled to be part of this, and really super special to me. It means an awful lot to me. Thank you very, very much.
Well, I have little doubt that people are going to come up to you at the sport show this year and want to talk about your product and what have you. And at the shows that I'll be at, I'll certainly stop by your booth and say hi for sure, and I'm sure they'll pat you on the back as well. Jim, is there anything you want to say before I start rounding that thing up for the night?
No, I just wanted to say, Bob, that the Pyara series and the Cuda series, those are pretty special lines, and the nice part about them is we really do build an extra power into the butt section, and great hook setting powers, and all the components are second to none. So we lead the industry with those two lines. So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, and it's my honor to ever be on with you, Bob.
It's my pleasure, totally. And like I said early on in the show, we've got something new coming. I'm going to talk to you about it off air because I want to see you involved in that new project. Hey, Jim, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it very much. Have a great evening, and say hi to Ma for me.
I sure will. Stay well.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Bye-bye. Hey, folks, again, for northern pike fishing, lake trout fishing, Arctic grayling, all of this is going to happen for you up at Athabasca at Blackmur's Athabasca Fishing Lodges. They have incredible facility, daily flyouts, father-son weekends. I mean, they have all kinds of stuff. Cliff is probably one of the best float plane pilots you'll ever have the opportunity to fly with. I've flown with him many, many times, and he's an interesting person when he gets in that airplane and starts moving around, I'll tell you that. Let's take a little bit about look at a little bit about what he's got going out there. Rates and hours of operation. He, like everybody else, is taking major credit cards. He's got a full American plan. That's the only thing. You're going to come back weighing more than you went up there. I'll just tell you that. He has outpost camps on a couple of lakes for big northern pike and more walleye than you can ever imagine, and it's pretty insane. Over at his main facility, he can handle 24 people in the camp. That's important to know. And you ask why? Well, it's because there's only going to be 12 boats on the water. 12 boats on 100 miles of water. Think about that. You're not going to be crowded. Go back and look at this show when we're done and count the number of boats you see in the camera shot. I dare you, because there are none. The on-site services with Cliff and Stella are literally at the top of the chain. Fly-in, airstrip, air charter. Now you're going to fly from wherever your home is to Saskatoon. You're going to overnight in Saskatoon. You're going to get on the charter plane. Charter plane's going to take you on up, and I'll show you in just a second here where we are in terms of the map. Every one of the cabins have got all their own bathrooms and showers and fireplaces, and I mean, it's pretty cool. Your fishing guide service, you're going to be with a guide for the entire period. He'll pair you up with one of the native guides that come down from Fond du Lac. These are awesome people. I know the Martin family very well. Some of the other people, God forgive me because I don't remember all the names, but great people. My wife went up there with me, and she had just an enormous good time talking to the native guides, talking to them, and learning more about the fishery and the folklore and the native backdrop. It's pretty cool. Remember, he's got black bear hunting for non-resident, moose hunting. It's all there. So if you've ever thought about going to any place that offers you an opportunity at trophy fish, this is one of them. You want to go walleye fishing? Take a boat off the end of the dock and go walleye fishing every evening. It's pretty crazy. Land of the midnight sun. It's nuts. The time we're up there fishing is just, it's worth every dime you'll spend. Hey, this is Bob Mehsikomer for FishnStixTV. Wanting to say thanks again for letting us come into your private space on your personal devices, on your computers, maybe on your big screen TVs. For all of you who chimed in to let us know where you were watching and listening from, I love it. Do me a favor, if you would, please hit that share button on the bottom of this particular video you're watching at right now. All you have to do is hit share it to your page, share it to a group, share it to whatever you want to share it to. And again, if you have my email address, Bob.m at FishnStixTV.com, be sure to give us a holler out and let us know if we can share to your page, because it's important. The more people we have sharing the product out there, the easier it is for us to grow. God bless everybody. And these are the people that I want you to contact if you want to go there. Athabasca, Cliff and Stella. There, on your left, you can almost see it. One of the most magnificent sights on the planet. Lake Athabasca nestled just below the 60th parallel. Lake Athabasca hasn't changed in nearly 1,000 years with its pristine shorelines,
pure crystal clear water you can actually drink, and countless fish. Boy, has she got fish that is for everyone willing to travel to Otherside River Lodge. From the magnificent world-class northern pike that prowl these waters to the oldest and biggest lakers on the globe, Athabasca has it all. Otherside River Lodge caters to the true sportsman seeking an all-American plan guided package with 3 incredible meals a day and memories you won't find anywhere else. Records have been broken by guests at Otherside River Lodge in the past. You could be next. Book your dream trip of a lifetime to Otherside River Lodge, where fishing dreams do come true. Call Cliff or Stella toll-free at 1-877-922-0957.